Hey all, it's Anthony with Bleacher Gaming, and we are going to do a quick little game review. And I really didn't need to add another tabletop game to my stable. I've got enough going on, especially on the channel. I've still got the Fergie Jenkins Payoff Pitch 1969 replay that is entering the home stretch. Got a replay baseball thing going, and of course a Glory Days Boxing Stanley Ketchel career replay, which I'll be doing a video on that in a little bit. But I finally ordered this week a game that I've kind of been intrigued about for quite a while, actually. Just because it's really different than most everything that's out there. So I went and ordered it, and I'm not going to put it on the channel yet, like I said, until I get some of the other things like the payoff pitch replay tied up. But got Inside Pitch Baseball, and just wanted to do a quick little review. I played a couple of games yesterday when I had some free time, just to get used to the game, and really have to say I enjoyed it. It's really unique. So let's take a look at what you get first of all. Good sturdy game box. And on the inside, I'm still doing this with one arm, sorry. On the inside, the cards come in a, looks like about 100 card stock, and they're perforated, similar to Status Pro Advanced. So once you get them, you do have to separate the cards. And you know, that's actually fun. I enjoy that, and it's actually one of the things I liked with Payoff Pitch too. Some people complain because Payoff Pitch comes with the cards kind of mixed up, but I think part of the joy of that and part of the joy in this, and I ordered the 1980 season, which was a great baseball season. Part of the joy is you kind of get to go back, and as you're separating the cards and the teams, you know, familiarize yourself with players that you remember from that era, and take a look at their cards. And Inside Pitch, the cards really do tell a good story about what the how the player is in terms of the season they had. So some other things, and really on this, the cards are very nice, well done, very easy to read, nice large print, which is good for those of us seasoned gamers like myself, who I have to wear glasses when I read. But it's easy to read, and you know, still a little blurry for me without glasses, but definitely easy to read. And the colors are nice; they're all in team colors. If I had one small nitpick with this, it's some of the perforations are not all the way through. You know, so you have to be careful when you separate them so you don't tear the cards. But you know, that's super minor. I mean, no reason at all to really downgrade the cards at all. You know, they're about the same thickness if you have Status Pro Advanced or Status Pro as those cards are. And same as Strat-o-matic cards, about that thickness, to give you an idea. You also get a bag of dice, and the green die I actually added. It comes with a blue 1d6 for runner advancement and whatnot. And I just threw one of my green die in because I just wanted a little more separation. But you get 6 pawns in different colors for keeping track of base runners and scoring if you use the charts. 3 1d6s and a 1d20. And you can see here I've already separated. I haven't separated the National League. I'm just playing around with American League right now. So I have all the American League teams separated. And then it comes with a rule book, which I have underneath these because I've read it several times online before ordering. You also get, and this is very nice too, nice touch by Chris, the designer of the game. The charts come laminated, and this is the basically all-inclusive base running, bunts, basically the main chart you'll have to refer to during the game. And it is two-sided. It has the failed error check chart on the back and a description of, and it's color-coded, so it's easy to go to the sections and see what you need to do. And then, of course, the successful and failed range check, which is down on the bottom there. Your game board, and the game board is actually nice. if you do use it, and I actually do have it out when I was playing, because it tells you what the adjustments are on advancement, so you don't have to go to the other chart. And again, it's nice and big. It tells you when to proceed on the throw chart, and again, the adjustments to the base runner rating, and then also runner advancements on singles that go through the infield, which is also a nice touch too. It separates singles between outfield and infield to bring in different mechanisms for the runner advancement. And of course, outs, and again here more runner advancement, and inning and scoreboard down on the bottom if you want to keep score that way. So that's nice. And then finally, a rare plays chart. Rare play chart is men on base and base is empty. And it's a 2d6 roll, and it tells you basically very simple. The rare plays come up when you roll a blank on the stadium cards. And in terms of the components, again, this is probably going to be my only critique of the game. I'd like to see this a little bit more variety in this, and not so much more robust, but there's a lot of bobble plays and possible throw plays or errors on the throw, etc. You know, maybe a little bit more variety there, but again, that's a really small, stupid nitpick, and very minor compared to what the other game or the other aspects of the game, which are absolutely amazing. So I'll probably actually use my Glory Days Baseball rare play chart when I play this game, and just have a couple of 2d10 on the side to use that. And rare plays don't come up. I played two, like I said, played 2 games yesterday. Rare play came up once. So those are the 3 charts, and again, very nicely put together, laminated. And let's take a look at the cards now. So, and the other thing I do too, I always design my own score sheets for whatever baseball game I'm playing. So this is the standard score sheet I use with the little diamonds in here for runner advancement, etc. So what I did for inside pitch specifically, this is standard, obviously, position, and then the base running rating. And then what I did for the defensive part is just put the positions out here: outfield, infield, pitcher, catcher, and the range and air check, and then the adjustments to the outfielder's arm. For the infielders on the corners, it's just range and air, and then the middle infielders have range, air, and then a pivot rating, which comes into play on double plays. Pitcher, just range and air. Catcher, range, air, throwing arm, and then pass ball rating. So added that to the score sheet, so it's just a lot quicker to glance here for me than go back and fill all that in columns here. So the cards themselves, the game is really unique in that it probably, and again, I've only played a couple of games, but early impressions are, in terms of putting the triad of pitcher, batter, and ballpark interaction together, this game does an exceptional job, and it's very seamless and intuitive too. So here's your ballpark card, and this is Yankee Stadium. And then your batting cards and pitching cards. And I will just zoom in here. There we go. So I'm sure most of you have seen this played online before. And it's basically 2d6 and a 1d20 roll. And you start out referencing the pitcher's card, and depending on the result there, we'll go to the batter's card or the ballpark card. So just to give you a quick example, and this isn't really going to be a let's play, it's again just an example of how this all works. Let me just get this kind of centered here. So each at-bat takes, the majority of them take 1 or 2 rolls, and for runner advancement, you'll have to throw in that extra, 1d6, which is why I added that. But what you'll do is roll, and you check red is the column, so 3, and 2 is the row, and then you get a result from a pitcher's card. In this case, this is a walk plus. Now, walks and strikeouts, and these cards are rated based on the dips theory, and it's a real, really innovative in that Chris really is the first and only baseball game designer I know that really incorporates the dips theory, and it works really well. So this is a walk plus. Now, a walk and a K on the pitcher's card, you would normally then just refer to the 1d20 and go to the appropriate handedness for the pitcher on the batter's card. So a lefty versus righty matchup here. Normally this would have to be a 1-4 adjusted by the park, and Yankee Stadium is a +1. So this would be a 1-5 for a strikeout. And then Randolph walks a lot, so he goes even above 20, and that compensates for park adjustments. So in the case of a walk or strikeout plus, you add 10 to this rating. So if I was looking at for a strikeout on Willie Randolph's card, with the park adjustment, it would be 1-15, which if this was a K check, it would still be above that. And then walk check becomes 1-34 because there's no adjustment. So obviously, if you roll a walk check with Willie Randolph, he is always going to draw a base on balls. So this would have been a walk, and the at-bat would have been resolved. Let's do another one. So that's done. Bring up a new batter. 4-6, Rupert Jones up, and 4-6, you go again to column 4, row 6, possible K check. So this is just a base K check off the batter and the ballpark adjustment. So 16 is the 1d20 versus a left-handed pitcher, 11 + 1, so 1-12 would have been a strikeout. This is a 16, so that's considered a blank. At that point, you would then go to the batter's card and roll the dice again. 3-1. And here we have a split result by lefty-righty. So 3-1 against a left-handed pitcher would be a ground out and 4 to second base. If it was a right-handed pitcher on the mound, it would be a single past second base. And that's basically how you resolve the at-bats. The ballparks come into play, and depending on the pitcher, ballparks will come into play and be more impactful for home runs, and also if it's a park that is harder than usual to get a hit in, you'll have these star line results, which are the automatic outs on the pitcher's card. So we'll say ballpark, the asterisk here is a ballpark check. This is regular ballpark check. This is a range play ballpark check. So we'll do the regular ballpark check first. So say we roll a 4-5, ballpark check. We'll roll the dice again. Go to the ballpark card, 4-5, and that would be a ground ball to the catcher, chops it off the plate, and the catcher jumps out from behind the plate, fires to first, batter is out. Range plays we'll get to in a minute. The other thing on the ballpark, say we roll a 1-2. That's a home run to the batter's pull field, and we'll bring up a slugger, Reggie. So Reggie, he had 41 bombs in 1980. So he has a roll of basically 1-20. And so every time a home run comes up on him, unless there's some other type of adjustment, it's gone. So say we roll 1-2 on Yankee Stadium's park card, home run to the pull field. Obviously 13 is within the range, and there's no adjustment for home runs in Yankee Stadium. So Reggie would have driven that into the upper deck in right field for a home run. If the home run check comes off a pitcher's card, and there's two, one is a straight home run check, and that would be the same thing. 2-4 on Guidry's card, we go to Reggie's, and that would have been a home run. Now, if it's a home run question mark, you have to see if the pitcher is going to allow the batter a chance to hit the home run. So in that case, so we roll a 1-4, and the 1d20 is a 3. If we're facing a left-handed batter, 1-18, it would be a home run check, and you would then go to the batter's card and roll. And again, in this case, it would be a home run for Reggie. If it had been a right-handed batter, 0, meaning he does not give up nearly as many home runs to righties, which is kind of strange, but again, short porch, Yankee Stadium in right field. So 0, that would be considered a blank, and then you would resolve the at-bat on the batter's card. And just to give you another batter for an example of that, Sweet Lou Piniella. So Piniella, let's get a lefty up here, Greg Nettles. So Nettles, Gator rolls the home run question mark. 3 is within 1 to 18. So that's a potential home run. You then just roll the 1d20 on Nettles' card. 13 and at 12. So then in that case, it would be a normal resolution of the at-bat. You'd have to roll the 2d6. 6-2, and that would be a Starline 2, which I'm glad that came up. Starline 2, Starline results are automatic outs off the pitcher's card. So in this at-bat, Nettles missed the home run, rolled a 6-2, Starline 2. You look at Starline 2 on Guidry's card, and it is a ground ball to second base. So that's kind of how the interaction between the cards come into play. The other thing are range plays, and range plays are the one thing in this game that really stood out to me as having a significant impact, a major impact. And actually, I really enjoy that piece of the game probably as much as anything. And I'll give you an example of one of the games I played last night, how that really came into play. So range play, say we roll a 2-5 on Gator's card. Okay, we'll go and roll on Nettles' card. And result is a 3-6. So that is a line drive towards shortstop, but it's, remember, a range play. So you would look at the Yankee shortstop, and we'll just say, okay, well, we're playing, the Yankees played the Rangers last night. So say they're playing the Rangers. Shortstop for the Rangers in last night's game was Pepe Frias, and he has a range of 1, which is not very good. So you would then roll the 1d6, and it's a 1, but he manages to make the play. You would then check on the range chart. And again, once you get going, this is really super quick. So the range chart down here, and it's tough to see, but it'll say successful and failed range check by each result. So this is a line out. Successful line out just becomes an L6. And if he had failed his range check, rolled a 2 or more, what you would have had then would be a single past shortstop. So that's how the range check works. And you can get range checks off the batter's card, which is just a regular RP, or you get an RP with the ballpark symbol. You get the result off the ballpark and do a range check off of that. The last piece on the batter's card, before I talk a little bit more about range plays, is the split results. So split results, I digress. Let's do errors first. So there's also 3 error checks on each pitcher's card. So there's throwing errors, error on a ground ball, meaning if the result is anything but a ground ball, you ignore the error check. Same thing with the throwing error. There has to be a throw involved. And then the E, the regular E check, error check, can be an error in any situation. So let's say we roll a 2-2. That is a ground ball error. We'll bring up a new batter, Rick Cerrone. Go to Rick's card. It is a 2 and a 4, and it is indeed a ground ball. So we would then check the third baseman. And Texas third baseman Buddy Bell is a 4. You would then roll a 1d20. If it's 4 or less, it's an error. If not, it is a ground out. It's that simple. And same with throwing and the regular error. So let's talk about the split results. So if you roll a split result on a pitcher's card, so we roll a 4 or 6-4 on the 2d10, you then go to the 1d20. And it will say for each batter, just like the home run check, it will say for each batter, left-handed and right-handed, what the result is. So Guidry's tougher on lefties than righties. So against a right-handed batter on the split check, a roll of 1 to 15 would be a single past the pitcher, basically single up the middle. In this case, that would have been a single off of Guidry's card. If you roll above the 15, then you would then resolve the at-bat on the batter's card as normal. So say Nettles has been up, a left-handed batter. The result there for 1 to 12 is a star line check. So we rolled a 1, roll the additional 1d6, 5, and it becomes a fly out to left field. If it's above 12, then you would resolve the at-bat again on Nettles' card. Those results also come into play on the batter's card. And looking at Nettles, here we go. So he has a question mark 9. So if you roll a 2-1 off the batter's card, you then check the split result based on the handedness of the pitcher. So 2-1, and Guidry is a left-hander. So against lefties, that split result is single on 1 to 9 and double on 10 to 16. 17 or more, it's just a fly out to right field. Against a right-handed batter or a pitcher, it would be single on 1 to 6, double on 7 to 10, and a home run on 11 to 12, 13 or more would be a fly out. So that basically covers all the different scenarios in resolving an at-bat. And some of it seems complex, but it is really intuitive and it really flows well together between the 3 cards. It honestly does. There's also split results on the park card. And Yankee Stadium here, again, taking into left and right field. We have a split result for each. And same thing there. If the at-bat resolution came off the stadium card, you rolled a 3-3. So that's a split result on right field, 15. And the split result there would be a home run because it's between 13 and 19. So anytime you get a split result in Yankee Stadium, it is going to be bad for the pitching or the team out in the field, basically. So that's kind of it. And it's nice. Chris rates every ballpark for batting average, slugging percentage, number of home runs, runs per game. And then you got, minimal stats, which is all you need for the pitcher batter here. Some of the other ratings on the card, that's how many starts the pitcher made. That's how many batters he can face before he gets tired. And then the other optional rule is the pull rule, which would be a combination of hits, walks, hit batsmen, and runs, etc. And at that point, he would become tired. And so I use both rules in conjunction with each other. The pull rule comes into place if a pitcher just comes out of the gate rough and gives up like 6 runs in the first 3 innings. They're going to hit this pull number before they reach 29 batters. So that's what I'll use to determine if they come out. And on the pull rule, that's an automatic pull. If they reach their fatigue point by number of batters faced, you'll get some results on the card that changes. An example there, normally a roll of 1-3 on Guidry's card would be a K check. If he is tired, you go to the result in parentheses, which is a walk check. And then he also has an automatic single up the middle when he's tired, which would normally be a blank if he's fresh. So that pretty much covers all the card interactions. Some of the other ratings, we've talked about the split ratings. Wild pitch, when that comes up, that's a WLD result. Wild pitch, pass ball. This is their pitcher's results for stolen bases. The first number, -2, would be to hold. And when you're trying to steal a base, and we'll go back up to someone speedy. If you whether you use a strategy roll or not, I don't. I just kind of manage how a real-life manager would. So say Randolph's on first and I want to steal. If I roll a 3 or less, he's going to be able to attempt to steal. Guidry's hold rating is a -2, so to get a jump to be able to steal, I have to roll a 1 when Guidry's on the hill, which is pretty tough. If I did roll within the number to get a steal attempt, so say I rolled a 1, then this is his base success rate based on a 1d20 roll, modified by Guidry's stolen base rating, which is -4, and then the catcher's arm. And again, I'll use the Rangers who the Yankees played yesterday. Jim Sundberg had an arm rating of 0. So the final adjusted steal attempt rating would be 1 to 13 per Randolph, and you just simply roll a 1d20. And there's a chart actually that will tell you, but on a 1 to 2, he's always going to be safe, and on a 20, he's always going to be out. And then also when you're doing the attempt check, if you roll a 20 on the attempt check, it becomes a pickoff attempt, which each pitcher has a pickoff rating. Guidry's is 1 to 6. The other ratings here, balk, doesn't come into play, and ground into double play. So this is increase or decrease double play chances. Guidry is a 0, so no effect there. Other ratings on the batter's card, you've seen the K, walk, and home run ratings, which is the 1d20 roll when those results come up here. Base runner rating, it's from 1 to 6. 6 obviously been best. About the best you'll get in the game is 5, and that's used with runner advancement. Bunt, 5 is best, so he is average. Again, the attempts, stolen bases. Rolly Randolph, how often he grounds into a double play. And you see that varies. Rupert Jones is a 2. A guy like Bob Watson, who is a little bit more of a lead foot, is a 4. And then there's sacrifice fly chance and hit by pitch, and then again some basic stats. So I'm not going to go too much into runner advancement in this video. I didn't intend it to be a complete how to play. Just kind of wanted to highlight some of the things, and especially just the interaction that make this game really great. Now I want to talk about the range plays, because probably more than any tabletop baseball game I have played, range plays make a huge difference in inside pitch, and it's really adds a lot to the game. So again, I am the stereotypical sloppy handwriting lefty, so don't have to read this, but I'll go over the score sheet. So the Tigers and Royals played last night. This was their opening day game, 1980. In real life, the Tigers behind Jack Morris beat the Royals and Dennis Leonard 5-1. Morris threw a 3-hitter. So this game started very similar. A couple of scoreless innings to start. The Tigers punched one through in the 3rd. Then they got to Leonard in the 4th. And Leonard actually, by ratings, and again, I mentioned the cards, it is really easy to see who is a good pitcher, how the pitchers rate and how the players rate just by looking at their cards once you understand what all the symbols mean. So Leonard actually a better pitcher that year than Morris. But he got struck in the 4th inning here. Things started off. He gave up a single and a double to Brookins and Champ Summers, struck out Lance Parrish, and then walked Rick Peters to load the bases. Mark Wagner followed with a single, which got 1 run in based on the runner advancement chart. Sweet Lou Whitaker then singled and drove in 2. So he plated both Peters and Champ Summers. And then finally, Kurt Gibson came up. There were runners on the corners then, and he hit into a fielder's choice and brought the 4th run home. We then had a single, and finally Rich Hebner ended the inning by grounding out to first unassisted. So they batted around, got 4, and looked like Leonard was done. He settled down, though. The 3 innings after that, he was really untouchable. He gave up walk in the 5th. That was erased by a double play. 3 up, 3 down in the 6th. Gave up a walk in the 7th, and at that point he had kind of reached his, he was getting up to his fatigue point, and I wanted just to bring in a new pitcher. So he walked Kurt Gibson, brought in a new pitcher. Gibson was promptly gunned down trying to steal, and then Marty Patton got out of the inning. So Patton ended up pitching really well. He pitched the 8th and the 9th as well, gave up only a single hit and had a strikeout. So meanwhile, the Royals kind of came clawing their way back. In the 6th, they got a couple across on a McRae double and a Brett triple, and then a sacrifice by Willie Mays Aikens. Scratched out another in the 8th, which the Tigers conceded on a ground out. And then the 9th is where it really got fun. So going into the 9th, the Tigers were clinging to a 5-4 lead and brought in the closer, Aurelio Lopez. Started the inning by getting Pete Lecoq on a fly out to left field, no problem. Jamie Quirk then followed up with a range play double, and it went to left field. Now, for the Tigers out in left field, Steve Kemp was the left fielder. He has pretty good range. You didn't really think of him back in the day as a super fast player, but he had a range of 4, and earlier in the game, he had already taken, he had 2 range play opportunities, one on an out, which he could have turned into a hit if he had failed, and another on a hit, which he took away by succeeding. So he had 2 successful range play checks earlier in the game to kind of stymie the Royals, and in this case, 1 to 4, there's 1 out. rolled the 1d6. It is a 5, so he missed it. Quirt got to second base. Next batter up, Clint Hurdle grounded out to third base, so there's 2 outs. And at that point, if Kemp had made his range check, game would have been over. Lopez would have had the save. It would have been a 5-4 victory for the Royals, but he missed it. Gave Frank White a chance, and Frank White rolled a ballpark check, and rolling on the ballpark card, it was a split check on the ballpark to left field, and the 1d20 came up a triple. So Quirt came in to score. Frank White's at third. UL Washington was the next batter, game tied, and Aurelio Lopez promptly unleashed a wild pitch, and White came in to score. Ball game over, 6-5, Royals win. So that was just a really, really cool finish. And again, throughout the game, several range plays had an effect on the game, including deciding the winner of the game. So that's the one thing that really jumps out to me, just again with the way the interaction between the 3 legs of the tripod, I guess, work together, pitcher, batter, park. So that is my quick review of Inside Pitch Baseball. Definitely, right now I'd say my favorite baseball game is Payoff Pitch. Inside Pitch, after only 2 games, is right there with it. So if at any point I had to choose between the 2, it would be a 1A, 1B situation. Love them both. Love the interaction they both have. Payoff Pitch, I give the edge to because it's more some of the resolutions of base running when you use a dice, fast action cards are quicker, if that's what you're looking for. In terms of the overall interaction of all components, in edge I'd have to give to Inside Pitch. Everything else in the game, the results, the enjoyment of playing pretty much equal. So like I said, it's a 1A, 1B situation. So you can't go wrong with either. And so I'm definitely giving Inside Pitch a round tripper, a home run over the left field wall, 8 rows deep. So recommend it 100%. And like I said, it's not going to be on the channel anytime soon. I'm just kind of playing it for fun offline here and there. I want to get a couple of the projects I got going finished. I get too many balls in the air, then nothing gets finished. So I'm going to focus on that. But while I'm playing offline too, I'll be getting more efficient with the game. And that's the other thing. Well, 2 more things actually. Time to play. It looks like watching videos and looking at some of the rules that it does have a little bit of a learning curve, mostly with the base running and fielding aspect on double plays. But the first game I played, which was the Tigers-Royals, took about 55 minutes, and that wasn't bad because I had multiple stoppages to check the rules. And obviously not announcing, so there was no talking, it was just roll and score. But the second game, Yankees-Rangers, which the Rangers won 3-2 in 10 innings, not a lot of extra stuff going on in terms of results, so I only had to glance at the rule book a couple of times and, found what I was looking for quickly. I got through the first 9 innings, and it was tied at 2 after 9. I got through 9 innings in 38 minutes, and the end of the game, which was a fielder's choice attempt to get the runner at home, I had to go and read the rule a couple of times to make sure I played it right. So the last inning took 7 minutes by itself, but 45 minutes for a 10-inning game is still pretty damn good. And, that's only going to get quicker once I get all the rules memorized. So, the time aspect wasn't as bad as I thought. So once you get the flow of the game down, it goes by pretty quick as well. And then the other thing is the base running, and that definitely is a thing that gives people the most trouble in watching videos and on the forums. And there are some complexities to it. Overall, once you get the flow of it down, despite the fact that it looks complex, it is actually very intuitive, a lot more intuitive than I thought from watching people's videos. So that was the one thing I was worried about, and was even thinking I might make up my own little chart or system for runner advancement. But after playing just 2 games, I'll be fine. It's just a matter of remembering. And it really is easy I said I wasn't going to get into it, but I will. For singles through the infield, you basically just roll a 1d6. And if you're going first to third, you check the location of the single. And if the roll is equal to or higher than the number here, runner advances an extra base, same second to home. That's super easy. One roll. When you get into the outfield hits, the singles and doubles to the outfield, a little bit more complex. You have to adjust based on the field it's hit to and where the runner's going. So first to third, hit to left field is -2 to the base runner rating. If it's right, it's +2. And then you also have to factor in, obviously, the base runner rating and the arm of the outfielder. So there's, 3 equations there. So say we'll use Willie again. So Willie's base runner rating is a 4. So on a hit to left field, -2, it becomes a 2, and then you check the left fielder's arm, and that could make it a 3 or a 1. And then also if there's 2 outs, you add 1 to the rating, so his base would have started at a 5. You make your calculations, and then you'll go through basically the charts here. And it's fairly simple. This is really a quick, in a nutshell, description. But if it's less than 1, runner's not going to advance, and that can happen if it's a slow runner. If it's 6 or more, then he's automatically going to advance. If it's 2 and 5, then you'll go to your throw charts and you roll 2 1d6s and are directed from the results there. It's either going to be advance if it's equal or less than, or you have to check another chart here for the runner advancement. So, and I'm not going to go into that again in detail, but it looks more complex than it is once you get it down. And again, it's very, very intuitive. So that is it. It was going to be a quick review of Inside Pitch Baseball. Ended up going 37 minutes, but definitely recommend the game. And like I said, it's quickly jumping right up there as probably my 2 most favorite baseball games of this in Payoff Pitch, with Status Pro Advanced a close third. And those are for replays. That would be my choice. So either Payoff Pitch, Inside Pitch, and then Status Pro Advanced after. Replay baseball, I'm enjoying more than I thought. I would just, because I like the interaction off the cards, I would put it below these 3 games. Strat-o-matic, I have it. I'm just not a huge fan. I know some people don't like it because of what the customer service they get. I just like more of the interactive. And I know people make arguments that the stats are good. I just like more of the on-card interaction rather than a 50-50 chance. So it's not that obviously Strat-o-matic is not bad, because it's along with APA, one of the grandfathers out there, the grandfathers of the tabletop baseball game. It's very successful. It's just not the first game I'm going to grab. And APA, I've just never really played. I've looked at it, and again, I like more of a pitcher interaction. I know you can play the advanced version, but that just seems like it gets almost too technical and kind of bogs you down, where to me the end result of a board game is you should be playing it having fun. And a lot of people love APA, especially the basic version. It's quick to get through a game. Just something that really, honestly, I'm probably never going to buy, just because there's a lot of good baseball games out there, and I've kind of found a sweet spot with 2 or 3 here that kind of scratch the itch that I have in terms of what I look for in a game. So. And then I also will be remiss not to mention History Maker. I don't look at History Maker Baseball as a replay game, and I don't think Keith even really presents it that way. History Maker is more of a story game, and like I have the Century League set with my History Maker Baseball because it's an alternate universe, and I kind of build my own stories. It reminds me of the novel by Robert Coover, The Universal Baseball Association, J. Henry Waugh, proprietor, which is a very, it's very eclectic. It's a different book. It's a good book, but it's very different, about a guy who just basically plays a fictional tabletop baseball game that he invented, and kind of loses himself in the game when a tragic result happens to one of his players in the game, and he just kind of begins to lose grasp of all reality. Good book, check it out. But that's kind of more what History Maker reminds me of. So I like to play the fictional set with History Maker, and one thing I'm really looking forward to with History Maker, and I'm going to get that back on the table when this comes out, they released last year a Cooperstown set, and that's of more recent players. I believe 1964, the Legend set. This March or April, they're going to release the second edition of the Cooperstown Legend set, and that will be players going back to the dead ball era prior to, I want to say 1960 or 1940. I think 1960. But prior to that time, so, you can get Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth, Walter Johnson. So I'm definitely getting that set, and then I'll get History Maker back on, because to me, when you're playing a set like that of all-time greats, it's obviously a fictional universe, even though it's real players. And there you're building more of a story. And that's the niche that History Maker fits into for me. Not as a strict replay game, but as a game just to kind of immerse yourself in an alternate reality / universe, if you will. So I'm looking forward to that Cooperstown set coming out, and we'll be getting that on the table when it does. So that's it. And again, this quick review is now over 40 minutes, so I will let you go. But hey, it's Anthony coming up on the channel. A Stanley Ketchel career replay. We'll have a fight later on of that, and looking forward to getting that back on there. And then we'll get back to Fergie Jenkins. Glory Days Boxing, again, thank you very much for the support. It is available at sidelinestrategy.com. I've got my new boxes, which actually are a little bit sturdier. Actually, let me go grab one. One sec. All right, so one thing I wanted to do, and this is actually very much like the Inside Pitch box. Pretty sure we probably use the same company, only his, Chris gets a sticker put on his. So one thing I wanted to do with Glory Days Boxing is, slowly start to upgrade the game a little bit. And I did, the base price of the game increased after this upgrade to from 24 to 26, which, hopefully I still think most people will look at as reasonable. But I wanted just to get a better box. So this is a new box. It's sturdier. You can see here, got the name on it. It's just a little bit smoother. It's a little bit bigger, so the charts are not as cramped. And instead of a small sticker on here, the printer or the manufacturer I'm using, the distributor, was able to take that sticker and basically print it on the box itself and make it bigger. So it's actually on the box and not a sticker. And I think it opens a little bit better. And actually, Joe at Sideline Strategy turned me on to this. I've actually known of the company. I just hadn't seen their fact that they'd started doing custom boxes. But very nice box. And the other one was sturdy too. It was just a bit more, I guess, awkward and, for lack of better words, cheaper looking. And obviously this one cost more to produce, which caused the game to go up a couple of bucks, just so I make a couple of bucks on the games. Again, I'm not looking to make money on the games, just cover my costs and, get a little extra to buy games like Inside Pitch. So that's the new box. I've also upgraded the pawns. I found another distributor. I've been using the tokens because the pawns from the place that I get my dice from just were overpriced in my opinion. And I literally would have had to charge another $1. And I just don't like the nickel and dime customers because of parts. But I found a place that has the little Monopoly pawns. They're, about 3/4 of an inch high. And red, white, or red, blue, and green. And they came out really only to cost pennies more per set than the tokens I was using, so that didn't affect the price or cost of producing the game at all. So I've added those as well to the new print or boxed versions of the game going out. So that's kind of what's going on with Glory Days Boxing as well. And, you know, as I go on and the game continues to grow and I get more fighter sets released, I really haven't even pressed marketing the game very much because, quite frankly, I don't want to get too busy with it in terms of shipping and that type of stuff and having to put orders and whatnot together yet. Because I've got a lot of other stuff going on in life. The job is very busy. And I've decided to go back and coach one final year of high school football next year. Definitely will be my last year. I want to coach with the senior class we have coming back. There's some great kids and want to have one good last ride with them. And then we'll be retiring. It will be my 34th season coaching high school football. And, you know, it's a lot of time over the years, a lot of time that your wife sacrifices. So I'm going to definitely step away for good after next season. Focus more on games. Again, I'm designing a college football game, which I expect to have out in the fall later this year. And then see what happens after that. Boxing sets, welterweights are next. That is going slow because I have one arm. I get the sling off my right arm at the end in 2 weeks, actually. So I'll be able to type a little bit better and can get busy producing the cards and finish weighting and that stuff. So looking at end of February for the welters, and then probably going to do the fictional set after that, which would be 50 heavies and 50 middles, each with their own unique story. And there's some community members actually have fighters in that fictional set, so I think that'll be fun as well. And then from there, we will move on down the road. Again, no estimated release date. There will be bantamweight, featherweight. Flyweight just doesn't seem to have a demand. If people really want that, I'll do a flyweight set. But it may just be bantam, feather, and light heavy. And then a second set of 100 heavyweights. And then probably supplements to the middleweight and welterweight division. We're talking all this stuff like 2 years out, you know, to get everything I want produced for the boxing game out there. So it's kind of a bonus what's going on with the State of Glory Days. So if you stuck with it this long, thank you so much. And thank you for supporting the channel and the boxing game. Hope you all have a great weekend. And in whatever game you play, keep rolling for the fences, rolling for the knockout, rolling for the end zone. Just keep rolling. We'll see ya.